Wubba-lubba-dub-dub, and welcome to Cloud Style's Rick and Morty Podcast. The only Cloud Style Rick and Morty podcast that you are going to listen to.
You and me, Fat Mack, 100 more episodes.
100 more episodes. Paystee White and Fat Mack forever. Forever and 1001. We're never going to give up.
B6podcast.com. 1 million years.
Fucking... That's a lie, folks. This is Beef Sticks. This has nothing to do with Rick and Morty. We're just trying to lure you in. We're trying to
I did start
things up.
Binging Rick and Morty again today from season 1.
Did you start binging?
I did. I needed to go back.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we got another 3 years until we get our next episode or season, so we might as well get into it a little bit.
Truly.
Thankfully, Disenchantment has held me off. I'm, I think, on my 3rd time going through Disenchantment, so...
I still haven't watched the whole thing once through.
Oh, my God.
I don't know,
You're
man.
Missing out. You're missing out. It's an amazing show.
Let us know what you think of Disenchantment in the comments.
How do you feel about all the Fox pulling all their shows now? Getting ready to move it to the Disney.
Give me the fucking Disney thing before you start taking everything away. That's my opinion.
Well, they can't do that though. Then they'd start Disney with no shows. They want to start it with all these, names that everybody's already into. They want to get them all built up ahead of time. They know what they're doing. Trust me. Disney didn't get to where they are by not knowing what the fuck they're doing as far as marketing goes and hostile takeovers.
Oh yeah. Which is why WWE is going to be the next Disney in 30 years.
So says Stephanie McMahon. Hallelujah. It's good stuff going on, man. It's good. Things are changing. 'Tis the season for change. And there's a lot of change going on, Paystee. A lot of things are different than the norm.
Yes, indeed. We missed a week last week. We're back again this week.
Missed a whole week.
Kind of this week. Because by the time this comes out, it'll be tomorrow, and that'll be next week. So,
yeah, but it usually comes out tomorrow. I mean, since we quit doing it live, it always comes out tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So I guess that hasn't changed.
Yeah, but usually we'd be here recording on Friday, and now we're here recording on Sunday.
Until you told them, they didn't know that.
But now they do. I feel like it's pretty important to let them in on what's going on. And I mean, we've been pretty fucking busy in our normal lives lately. And today we kind of came to some terms, Fat Mac.
Terms and conditions may apply, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry
and you have all signed the contract by listening to this podcast. We now have rights to your email addresses, your credit card numbers, and your social security numbers.
I'm talking to you, 475058346. Yeah, I know who you are, and I know you're listening.
I can smell you from here.
Yeah, and it's just this time of year in general, I think for everybody is so hectic and busy, but you and I just have had stuff plop down on our laps that you couldn't even plan for, and that's on top of all of the shit that you already expect to have crazy stuff going on.
Right. Yep,
wow.
It's been interesting. And therefore, folks, this episode marks the season finale of season 1 of Beef Sticks Podcast.
Dun, 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 dun.
It hurts, I know, it stings. It was hard for me to even bring this up when we started talking about this.
Yeah, but it was one of those things like ripping off a bandage where it was like, we knew it had to be done. It's just, how do you do it?
Mm-hmm. And it's pretty easy. You just don't do it for a couple more weeks. Whatever. So yeah, this is going to be our last little episode for the holidays season. We will be back after the first of the year with season 2.
Hopefully hopefully the first week of January. We're shooting for about maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th air date. Probably 5th, but...
I like a 5th.
Oh man, I like a 5th, man. Hey Slim, I just drank a 5th of vodka. Dare me to drive?
I do, but I'm not Slim.
Hey White, I just drank a 5th of vodka. Dare me to drive?
I think you can handle a 5th.
I think I can handle a fifth vodka fairly easily.
Fuck, I don't drink like I used to, and I'm pretty sure I could handle a fifth.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, it's good. It's good because it needs to get done.
So does that mean when you get pulled over, you can plead the fifth?
Well, I think it's implied, am I right? Sir, have you been drinking? I plead the fifth. I wasn't lying to him. He's sitting there on the stand in front of the judge. I wasn't lying to him. I said I plead the fifth. I'd had a fifth. I was a straight shooter the whole way. He was too drunk to realize what I was saying. I'd breathalyze him, Your Honor. Yeah, you know, I think it's good. I think wrestling in general right now is kind of at a lull. Even the news, other than a couple deaths that have come up and a couple injuries, which we're going to get into, there's not a lot going on. WWE has so many people out injured, and who they have, they just don't know what the fuck they're doing with, so...
Except for Daniel Bryan.
Which, yeah, they don't know what the fuck they're doing with him either, apparently. I
don't know. From what I've heard, he's doing a really good job as a militant vegan heel. And fuck, I love that. I love that so much.
I guess I'd like to check it out. I see a lot of negative things about it, and I just haven't watched, so I don't even know. Man.
I think it's brilliant. It's definitely a fresh take on a heel when it comes to the WWE perspective.
Yeah, we've never had a militant vegan heel. Daniel Bryan comes to mind before him, or Austin Aries, or oh yeah, it's happened a lot of times. Nonetheless,
he told a kid in the crowd he was stupid on his birthday. Of course, this was in a dark match at the end of the show.
To be fair, Daniel Bryan was stupid on his birthday. He got really drunk and did some weird things. He was stupid on his birthday. I mean, he's just letting the kid know, hey, I was stupid on my birthday.
Well, it was the kid's birthday, not Daniel Bryan's.
He was stupid on the kid's birthday, too? Well, I mean, he has the right. He's an adult. He can be stupid if he wants. Daniel Bryan can be stupid on anybody's birthday.
I think you're missing the point. He told the kid was stupid on the kid's birthday. He had a birthday sign. It's my birthday. Well, your sign is stupid, and so are you. Yes.
Cheap heel. I like cheap heel heat. I like it when it works right, when it's done right. I haven't watched, so I don't know if they're doing it right.
This could be kind of a big thing going forward, too, because they turned Daniel Bryan, who's kind of been a prominent babyface his entire run with WWE. Even Team Hell No. Yeah, even Team Hell No was pretty babyface.
He started out as a heel, came back as a face, then he got the whole no thing going, and that was major heel. Everybody was against him then. Team Hell No got him turned back into face. He's kind of been off and on.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, I would say, especially after he's a lot like your Ric Flairs, your Shawn Michaels, some of them. As soon as he had to retire, he's going to be a babyface the rest of his career. So yes, I will say it's ballsy turning him babyface now when you have a lifelong face if you wanted it.
I just think it's cool because to me, it's them giving a chance to make somebody a heel who isn't your typical heel and obviously is favorable with the crowd. But now John Cena's saying he's not cutting his hair, and when he comes back, he would like to be heel as well. And I feel like Daniel Bryan's heel turn this time around might kind of give some leeway there. And at this point, I mean, they should bring Cena back as a heel, right?
You know, it basically comes down to what Cena and Vince wants. They both have enough pull right now that if Vince wants him to be face, he's going to be face. If Cena wants to be a heel, he'll just refuse to come back. I mean, they can both play their cards at this point. I don't think it's going to hurt Cena at all at this point. Like, I guess I would have to look at the numbers.
I think Cena's point for being heel is it's his opportunity to put younger talent over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we have heard the biggest argument being that Cena sells too much merchandise that it's not worth turning him heel. So I guess the only way to know for sure would be looking at the books now. With Cena being gone, does his merchandise still sell as much? And is it going to affect them that much if he turns heel? I guess that's what it would probably come down to. The bottom line would be, how much is his merch still selling at this point?
How cool it would be if he came back with a muscle, royalty, and disrespect t-shirt.
That would be awesome.
That would be badass.
I could dig it.
And if he doesn't make it, we'll make it here at Beef Sticks Podcast.
Especially if he came back just at the King of the Ring and won the King of the Ring.
There you go.
Muscle, royalty, disrespect.
I would love that.
That would be great. That would be great. I think it would be awesome. You know that it's bad when I literally have been watching a good amount of wrestling lately. The problem is I've been watching 80s wrestling and 90s wrestling probably a good 6 hours a day or so. I've been going back and watching a lot of old Survivor Series, Clash of Champions, Starrcade, and then I've been catching up on 1998 Nitro and Raw, respectively. I'll watch an episode of Nitro from that week, then the episode of Raw from that week, then Nitro from that week, then Raw from that week. I'm still into my wrestling mood. I'm actually getting more into my wrestling mood. For a while there, I wasn't watching any wrestling. I'm getting into my wrestling mood. I'm just not into the current WWE mood, Paystee.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been able to go back even with the Daniel Bryan turn. I do want to check in and see it instead of just hearing about it.
Right.
But I haven't been able to do that thus far. Maybe in our hiatus, I'll find some time to check it out. But I'm not going to watch Raw. There's no way in hell I'm watching Raw. There is nothing going on Raw right now that makes me want to watch.
No, nothing.
I mean, I guess it's kind of cool. Ziggler and Drew split, and Drew's a heel and Ziggler is a face, and Balor's rallying this group of faces to take on Corbin's group of heels. But it still doesn't matter.
And it still sounds like more of the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I still assume that as soon as all of those storylines are done, every single one of them guys are going to be in the same position they're in now.
Mm-hmm. And I've been meaning to watch more NXT. I did watch a couple episodes of NXT UK, and I gotta say the crowd at NXT UK makes the show. It's not even necessarily about the talent in the ring, who I'm not 100% accustomed to yet, right. But the crowd is so much fun. The episode I watched, there was it a tag match? No, it was a UK Championship tournament. UK Championship tournament between Zach Gibson and Pete Dunne. And the audience took off their shoes and they sang a song, "If You Hate Gibson, Shoes Off." And it kept going on forever. But they all holding their shoes up in the air.
I've seen that on YouTube. I did see that on
fantastic.
YouTube. It's awesome. I've been on the fence about that. And I think WWE made its mind up for me when the news came out that WWE changed their position of their NXT UK wrestlers to where now they are no longer allowed to take any bookings outside of WWE, where
and
before
WWE's
they were
affiliates.
able to.
And certain wrestlers will have the ability to perform for minor promotions still, but on WWE's terms.
Yes, and with no TV deals. And yes, and I will give WWE credit, as they always have, the obligations the wrestlers already have prior to this announcement coming out, they're letting them fulfill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one thing in the United States, the NXT guys have so many different options available for them to make money. Over in the UK area, it sounds like that's just not the same story. Now it seems about split. Some of the NXT UK wrestlers have come out and defended this. Some
Especially
of them have
Pete
come
Dunne.
out. Yeah, and you can imagine Pete Dunne
is the face of the company
hurting
over there. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
he's gonna do fine. WWE ain't letting him go hungry. But there's been some other ones who have come out and just said basically now they can't even afford to be a part of WWE, but they're contracted in. So
from a company standpoint, though, it does kind of make sense.
From a
because
company
these
standpoint,
indie
it 100%
promotions charge
makes
maybe
sense,
$5 to $10 per ticket, whereas NXT UK charges well more than that. And if you can see all these people wrestling for $5 to $10, you're not going to pay more to see them at WWE UK.
That actually is a very good point. I feel like the bigger point is if they're out wrestling for another promotion that you do not have control over, there's a bigger chance of them being injured and you footing the bill or screwing up your storylines or just the big effect of your wrestlers being injured.
Yeah, and that was one of the stipulations too. The superstars who are able to wrestle outside of NXT UK will have a WWE doctor at the event.
Correct. They have to have a licensed DMT at the event, which is good. But even with that, I mean, if WWE isn't there controlling everything, if they got different rings, they got different ropes, they got different standards, they got different wrestlers, you know? What if fucking they decide to throw New Jack in there with somebody? What the fuck's gonna happen then? Right. We don't know. So, yes, from a promotion point, I do 100% get it. But with that being said, it comes back to, and I don't like to be negative, and I've had discussions on the internet about this, and you just run in circles. Is it to the point where a lot of those wrestlers were better off not signing with WWE than signing with them? Is this hurting a lot of young coming up wrestlers? Now, again, yes, your Pete Dunnes are going to do good. You got the people that are just fine. Tony Storm is going to do amazing. All of those people, they're fine. They're okay. We know they're making money. They're living better than they would have lived without signing. But there are the people that only make it onto the dark shows, or not even that now can't even go out and make a living outside of that. They might be getting $18 for a dark show. They're paying to drive there. They're paying for the hotel. They're paying for all of their medical expenses. Did they just shoot themselves in the foot now when they were originally told, yeah, you can do all your dates and come here and do that?
I feel like it's going to sting in the immediate, but I think in the long term, as long as NXT UK continues to grow, I feel like the salaries will grow as well. Plus the opportunities to come over to be on the main roster, Raw, SmackDown. Eventually it'll get better, but for now, yeah, it fucking sucks.
And the main roster is where they take the hit, because you listen to NXT interviews, I mean, and even WWE has been open about it. In NXT, you get your transportation taken care of. You get your hotels taken care of. You get brought to your training.
Insurance.
You get fed. All of this stuff you get insurance. Yeah, all this shit happens. As soon as you're on the main roster, you pay for all of your plane tickets. You pay for the gas in your cars, unless you're on WWE road trip. You pay for your food. You pay for all your medical insurance. You pay for everything. I mean, honestly, 90% of the people that come up from NXT take a huge pay cut as soon as they go up from NXT to the main roster. Not everybody's Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. There's a lot of Ascension, Tyler Breeze, Neville was one who left. I mean, there's a lot of those guys that they couldn't afford it. That hurts them in the long run. Mm-hmm. Sad, but
Speaking
true.
of Neville, did you see the triple threat with Pac and Coffee and...
I didn't yet. I didn't.
It was really fucking good. And I think that match only happened because the WWE doing that UK thing, you can't fight for indie promotions, whatever. So this had to happen in a hurry. And It was a damn good match. I mean, granted, Pac didn't win, but I don't think that was his stance anyway, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He also didn't lose. He wasn't pinned.
And I've heard so many good things about that fucking match. I'd meant to watch it. I'd put it off, and actually, until you just said it now, I completely spaced it off and forgot about it. Mm-hmm. I think it was ICW. Insane Championship Wrestling.
Yep, that was it.
God, I can't think of who the third guy was either. You're right, though. It was John Coffey. It was Pac.
The name Coffey bothers me every time I hear it. I'm like, they're pronouncing Kofi wrong.
Right?
I'll get used to it, I guess.
You're gonna have to, buddy.
The Edge and Christian show that reeks of awesomeness is back on the network as well. I haven't started watching that yet, though.
Yeah, I've heard positive things about it. Again, like you said, I haven't gotten a chance to watch it.
They wore Bullet Club shirts, but I think WWE is totally over that now that the Elite is separate from the Bullet Club. Now they don't give a fuck.
I don't even think they care. Yeah, I haven't gotten to watch it either. A couple times, like I said, I've watched a lot of old school stuff on the network, and I've almost clicked on it a few times, and not for any other reason than I just Just haven't gone through it. I think when I do, I'm going to watch like 2 episodes, put it down. Next day, watch 2 episodes, put it down. Mm-hmm. As of right now, they're doing it the way I like it, and they're only putting out an episode a week.
That's the way it
should be. So
they
don't have the full season out, so that's good. Haven't watched it, but I've heard very positive things about it. I loved the first season of it. Edge had went on record and said it was so much work, it wasn't worth it for him, and he didn't like it, and they'd never do another season. And then 6 months ago, they backtracked on that, and I'm so happy they backtracked on that, because there's so many of the original programming that I don't care for.
Well, I think it's more worth it to him now, because they're giving his wife work, too, you know what I mean?
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
That double paycheck, it definitely helps, yeah.
Happy wife, happy life.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I would know.
Your life's still pretty happy, though, huh?
Oh, yeah. Happy dogs, happy life, man. I
found dogs,
the term
happy hug.
I've heard the term happy wife, happy life actually holds you back, where it's like, oh yeah, but no wife means that you can be happy whenever you choose to be happy.
Right. And how
you don't even have to make you don't have to make anybody else happy. If you want to be happy, you can be. Whoa. Fucking wild. Yeah, how come nobody thought about this before?
It's a wonderful life. Come on, get with the holidays.
Such a great, one of my favorite movies, man. It doesn't get enough talk.
I've been watching my favorite holiday movies with my kids. Over the last couple of days, we have watched the first 2 Home Alones. I think I'm going to show them the third one, too, because it might not have Macaulay Culkin in it, but I think it's still a decent movie, and I liked it a lot when I was younger.
The second one is just so hard to watch. The first one is good and fun. The second one was
never hard for me to watch until this year, when I'm like, holy shit, it's literally the same fucking thing.
It's not the same thing, though. Like, he throws bricks at fucking the guy's head multiple times. He burns one dude's head.
Him.
Electric, yeah.
The head burning happened in the first one, though, too.
Oh, yeah, so that's true.
Nothing.
But he does, like, murderous stuff to these guys in this one. Like, before, it was just, like, sick and mean.
Yeah, ice, but nail
the second
in the foot.
one, the second one, he upped it to fucking murderous shit.
They should have got a third one with Macaulay Culkin. Oh, wait, they did. The Good Son.
It's called Saw. Oh, sorry. We've all seen those theories. Macaulay, the kid from Home Alone.
I fucking love that theory.
Jigsaw.
It's so perfect.
It is perfect because it just works so well. You're right, though. The Good Son's an awesome movie. Mm-hmm. Elijah Wood, Macaulay Culkin. If you've never seen that, folks, it's one of Macaulay Culkin's unsung movies. Go and watch it, because that's one of his best acting acumens ever. Mm-hmm. And Elijah Wood is great in it too.
And it was so close to the release of the Home Alone series that it shocked a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it was shortly after Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
And he had a good string there. Uncle Buck, he was great in. He did those. He did a really bad one called Getting Even with Dad with Ted Danson from Cheers fame. That was a really bad movie. He might have had a couple other ones, but then he went into hiding, and then he came out for the movie Saved. Did you ever see Saved?
No, I didn't see Saved.
I love Saved. It is a kind of a dark comedy about one of those religious summer camps, and Macaulay Culkin plays a paraplegic who has just quit giving a fuck. And he's just like, fuck it, I'm a paraplegic. Like, what the fuck has God done for me? But his sister is like complete holy roller, and he's in this Catholic school, and he ends up falling in love with this gal. She's a Jew, but she's like, she's the rebel. She gets in fights and smokes and doesn't care what people thinks and has sex, and she's been kicked out of every other school. So her last school to go to that isn't a public school is this Catholic school, and it's a good movie. It's fun. Mandy Moore, I think, is like one of Mandy Moore's first roles too. Nice. She plays his sister, and she's like the holy roller, better than thou.
That makes a lot of sense.
She's like the evil, but she plays like the evil. Like she literally throws a Bible at somebody. She's like, "You need to be saved, Mary Beth," and she chucks a Bible at her. And Mary Beth even looks at her and says, "Look at yourself. The Bible's not a fucking weapon."
Tell that to the Catholics.
Exactly. It's fun. It's very tongue in cheek. It's a dark comedy. They don't take themselves too seriously, but it does have some, some real points in it. And it's got like teenage pregnancy and unwed parents. And yeah, it's a fun movie. And Macaulay Culkin did a great job because he didn't oversell his role. He's just this paraplegic kid. That isn't horrible. He's just basically doesn't give a fuck anymore. He's like, hey, I'm paraplegic. What worse is God going to do to me? So let's just go with it.
And that's the thing about Macaulay Culkin, too. He may have stepped out of the limelight, but has he ever put out a bad movie? I don't think so.
Yes, Giving Even with Dad with Ted Danson is a very bad movie. Other than that, I don't know. I know he did do a string of indies.
Yeah.
And indies are very, very, even more subjective than, major releases.
Right, so, yeah.
But I haven't, other than Getting Even with Dad, no, all of his movies I actually thoroughly enjoy. And I think he does a good job in them. He's very hokey.
We didn't even talk about Pagemaster, but I could do a whole fucking show on Pagemaster. I love that shit.
Yeah, Pagemaster.
Hell, Pagemaster is part of the reason you and I became friends.
And it was bad, but not because of him or Christopher Lloyd's fault. It just wasn't well written. But as far as being a kid's story, it was super fun.
Yeah, no. When I was a kid, I loved it. I owned it. I would watch it on repeat. I wore out the fucking videotape. How can you forget about Pagemaster?
I don't know.
It's a delight.
Christopher Lloyd, Macaulay Culkin. How do you forget about it? It was really good.
If I had one complaint about the movie, it would be it's just hard to see him as that big of a pussy after he was already a pussy in Home Alone and grew out of that. You know what I mean? You watched him get over his fears, and then all of a sudden...
but then you also seen him get killed by insects, so that's kind of pussy too, right? So I mean, come on, he's played the whole gamut here. And then his brother grew up to be a fairly decent actor. Mm-hmm. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Yes. He plays the roommate. And dare I say, his roommate steals the fucking show.
Now, was that the same brother who played Fuller in Home Alone?
I'm going to say yes, but there was like 5 kids, so I could be lying.
Well, Fuller's the one who wets the bed.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. He's the kid with the glasses. I know who you're talking about. I'm going to say yes, just because at the Home Alone age, they look exactly the same, and then at Scott Pilgrim age, they look exactly the same.
Right.
Also.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say I believe it's the same one.
Really, they're not siblings. They're all just a line of clones.
Right.
A couple of them happen to be female.
Yeah, because there is. I mean, I think at least one of the sisters have gone on to do a lot of things, too. But
yeah, no, the Culkin family is a tragic tale, pretty much right along the lines with the Jackson family, if you think about it.
Yeah, but I think they grew out of it better. I think all of them are. I think all the kids are doing better today. Obviously, the father. I mean, that's a tragic tale. The mom, I think, all that got worked out, and the kids are doing so much better nowadays. I think than a lot of them did. But yes, I can't think of his dad's name, but Mr. Culkin was very Tito Jackson-esque. From the understanding, my understanding was. Go watch some behind-the-scenes documentaries of Home Alone and Home Alone 2. The dad was a miserable son of a bitch that nobody liked.
Oh, yeah.
And he was horrible with his... what movie? Oh, no, it wasn't a movie. Macaulay Culkin, when he did Saturday Night Live.
I was just going to bring this up.
Perfect! Second youngest kid ever to do Saturday Night Live after Drew Barrymore. And allegedly, according to... Lauren Michaels, Macaulay Culkin's father, we've all watched Saturday Night Live and everybody stares slightly to the left of the camera to read the cue cards.
Yes.
That's just where everybody in every skit of Saturday Night Live looks. According to Lauren Michaels and others on the set, Macaulay Culkin's father would not allow him to read the cue cards and had to memorize every line for every skit in less than a week and was very... very emotionally abusive about it. Scary.
And that's every skit. Not just the skits they planned on using on the show. Every skit that was written in contention to be used on the show.
Yeah, because you got Saturday Night Live, if for every skit you see, there's literally at least 100% others that weren't there. I mean, you only see 50% of the skits, tops.
Mm-hmm. I want to go back and find that episode. I tried, but I wasn't able to dig it up. I want to see it because I never got to.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I haven't looked for it, but I'm pretty sure I'd never seen it. That would have been in the night. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen it, but it would be a good one to see. Maybe I'll try to check it out after we're done recording.
But no, back to my complaint. I do feel like plot-wise and like little things, maybe he was more violent in the second Home Alone, but it's very carbon copy. Every little joke, every little thing, carbon copy. The only difference is they had a budget for more well-known actors.
Well, and even down to the, in the first movie, there's the old man that shovels snow, and in this movie, there's the old woman with the pigeons. Like,
who's
it's
not
down
nearly
to
as scary, by the way.
Side story. No, she isn't, but she always makes me think of the Pigeon Man from Hey Arnold, and that just tugs at my heartstrings, so it always just gives me an extra.
I do want to find and watch the movies that he watched in both the Keep the Change, you filthy animal.
You filthy animal.
Like, if that was really a series of movies, if that actually exists out there, I gotta see those movies.
There's a YouTube channel, and I don't remember what the channel is, but they, like, he pretends that he's pitching movies to people. And he did one for Home Alone.
Oh yeah, no, I watched that. And
it's so sad.
I love those movie pitches. Those are my favorite things, where he plays himself, the writer and the producer.
Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He stole the dad's credit card and money and just goes to the hotel. Oh, really? So he has theft. Yeah, but then the hotel guy's suspicious. Oh, so he stops him and checks if he's with his dad. No, he lets him take the room, but later on he walks in on him while he's in the shower. Oh, that's not creepy at all. But Tim Curry does amazing in Home Alone too. I just love Tim Curry is amazing in everything he does.
Yeah, he is. Rob Schneider is Rob Schneider in everything he does.
Right, well, yeah, sadly. But when him and Rob Schneider and the maid and all of them come in there and they're just all embarrassed.
Get on your knees and tell me you love me.
Yeah,
I love you.
It's hilarious. I love it.
You were smooching with my brother.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody
and
looks
Cliff.
like Tim Curry.
It's a lie.
You're smooching with my brother. Oh, I forgot about that shit. That was fucking the best.
And another thing that bothered me too is when he ran in and put up the fucking clown in the shower. Like, how did he have time to ready that? He didn't.
Riggs, that's an inflatable clown.
You inflate the clown.
You know how
you hook up the wires.
To
you hook
inflate
up
a fucking clown. God damn.
And he already knows how to puppet it perfectly. Like, he's practiced.
Oh yeah. It's anybody who's ever had a kid's party knows how long it takes to inflate like a 1-inch thing that needs to be blown up. And that's when an
adult is doing the inflating.
No shit.
No, fuck yeah.
But
I love those movies.
I'll tell you one thing, that Home Alone 2 sold the shit out of those talk boys.
Yes.
I had two of them motherfuckers. Yeah, I had two of them. I talk boyed the shit out of it, and they didn't do a fucking thing, man. I could not do anything that son of a bitch did in the movie. When I played it slow, it didn't sound like an adult. It sounded just like this. It was dumb. And I couldn't record it randomly when it's hidden somewhere because you literally have to press record, and then you have a 90-minute tape in it, and then you got to flip it over.
Right. And how does he fast forward and rewind to these exact specific points to have things in the order he wants them to be?
Oh man, it's amazing. That kid's got some skill.
I love it.
He just press rewind, play, and it's right where it's supposed to be. I remember as a kid pressing rewind, play, stop, fast forward, play, stop, shit, rewind, play, stop. Oh, fast forward, play. Damn it, need to rewind again. Rewind, play. Fuck, now it's way back there. How'd that happen? Fast forward, play. Oh, it was nuts.
And I think that movie single-handedly put forth the things in motion that gave us the president we have right now.
Well, it didn't hurt, man. You could blame Macaulay Culkin for President Trump's presidency.
Yes. Or at least the producers of the movie.
I mean, I know I do. Maybe that's what got him into drugs. Maybe this son of a bitch went into the Page Master world, and Christopher Lloyd sent him into the future. He's like, Culkin, you gotta go to the future. Something's wrong. And he went in there and he's seen Trump taking over as president, and he came back, and that's what turned Macaulay Culkin into the fucking drunk druggie he became in between his childhood and his adult lives, and turned him so messed out. Because Christopher Lloyd really is a time traveler and really did show him what happened with Trump because of Macaulay Culkin's movie. It was all Macaulay's fault.
I could see it. Coming up tomorrow night, though, we're going to be watching one of my favorite non-Macaulay Culkin Christmas movies, and that is Jingle All the Way.
Do not eat the cookie! That's a good movie. My favorite Christmas movie that isn't like your typical like Nightmare Before Christmas or I don't know what other ones, but I love Deck the Halls, and it's not great in any one way, but God, I just love that movie so much. It's with Matthew Broderick and Danny DeVito, and I can't get enough of that one.
Not as iconic of a pairing as Schwarzenegger and DeVito, though.
Well, I mean, this pro wrestling talk has been just invigorating.
Stellar. But we did kind of hint at games there for a second, which can lead us into our next segment.
Ooh, sounds great. And I call this segment
Pro Wrestling Linguistics.
That's probably a horrible name for it, but I literally just came up with it right now.
It's all right.
I think we need like a better name for it going forward. But for right now, we're going to change the name, folks. But for right now,
the name will be premium once season 2 starts.
So what this is, folks, is I have taken pro wrestling main events, iconic pro wrestling main events that every wrestling fan knows. This could go as far back as 19-2 to as early as yesterday. And I have took the description of it, and I have copied it, and I have pasted it into Google Translate, and I translated it from English to Japanese, from Japanese to Samoan, and from Samoan back to English. Because if there's any kind of pro wrestling I enjoy, I love English wrestling, I love Japanese wrestling, and I love Samoan wrestling.
All right.
So we did that. We went English, Japanese, Samoan, and then back into English. And I am going to read the description of this iconic main event to Paystee White, and he is going to tell me what main event this is.
Or die trying.
Or die trying. So Paystee, first up, and I have these written down for him so he can actually see how they're written, because they're actually written kind of funny too sometimes. So Paystee, the first one we got here. The full-time champions of Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman faced the SmackDown WWE and Daniel Bryan. Lesnar made suplexing Bryan. Oh my God, this turned dirty quick as shit. Whoa.
Wow.
Folks, put the kids to bed.
Yeah.
So, Lesnar made suplexing Bryan. Lesnar has shown F5 in Bryan, but has voluntarily dropped in the game. Lesnar tried F5 in Bryan, but in the process, he hit the lawyer. Womp womp. Bryan took the opportunity to move the audience while the sign was lying. Bryan ran to his knees at Lesnar. Bryan began to match Lesnar's knee on the mark. When Lisa tried again... Fucking Lisa, get out of here, bitch! When Lisa tried again in the next F5, she returned to the ring, and Lesnar was on her lap. Bryan caught up. Yes! Lesnar closed up just to escape. Later, when Bryan leaned the Lesnar at a triangle, Lesnar fought at Bryan's F5 and won a victory. Disable the spread of the keypad using the popular Raw and SmackDown. Oh man, this first one's already a hoot.
That's brilliant.
I love this. I love this game so much.
Flexing Brian.
We got to do so many more of these ones. And where the fuck Lisa came from, I don't know.
And her, she happened. Like,
yeah, I know exactly. It's like there isn't even a Lisa in WWE at this time, and there hasn't been since probably Victoria. Lisa Marie Varon.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's good shit.
All right, Paystee, can you tell me what iconic WWE event this was?
Well, this would Bryan and Lesnar have to be the last event that happened, and that would be Survivor Series. Am I correct?
Survivor Series 18, Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal title versus WWE title. You are correct, Paystee. You got it. 1 for 1.
All right.
1 for 1. You are good.
Are all of these one-offs where the contenders only face each other one time? Because this will be real easy if that's the case.
I didn't say that. Actually, probably almost all of them are not that way. This might be the only one. All right, Paystee. Up next, Hell and a Contest between Andy Tay. Yes, folks, Andy Tay. That is ANDY space TAY. Hell in a Contest between Andy Tay and the man Mick Foley. Most watched and discussed in football history. Before this game, Foley and Terry Funk talked about the machine in Hell in the Bloody Blood House last year.
That should be what the event is called. It should be Hell in the Bloody Blood House. I love that.
Hell in the Bloody Blood House. Inside my home, I jumped to the Undertaker, backdropping and Shawn Michaels by linking the bar. Foley and Funk can have brainstorming on how to lead the game when Funk says, "Smile!" Oh my god. Smile, you egg-sucking dog. All right, Paystee, do you know Hell in the Bloody Blood House?
Oh boy. Well, Andy Tay is Undertaker. Yes. Andy Taker.
I believe it is supposed to be Undertaker. Andy Tay and the man.
I'm not sure why Terry Funk is in there.
Oh.
Shawn Michaels. This has got to be the Hell in a Cell where he went through the table. That's a SummerSlam, yeah? No, Mania.
It's not a SummerSlam, but it was King of the Ring 98. Okay. But you are correct. It is the Hell in a Cell. Undertaker versus Mankind. Terry Funk came out both times that they thought that Mick Foley was dead.
Oh. Okay.
So he came out both times and checked on his real life friend. So, and apparently he said, "Smile." I mean, that was his main thing, was to come out and say "smile." It's because that's what he was there for.
Hit his nose, right?
Right, exactly. Smile.
He probably came out just to stick the tooth in his nose, really.
That could have been it. Paystee, my friend, you are 2 for 2 on this wacky adventure.
And 1,000,000 points to you for this, man. This is hilarious.
I told you this was going to be a good one, man.
I think the WWE announce team should put themselves through auto-translate.
It'd be way more fun, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Especially when Lisa and Andy Tay and the man show up. I can just hear Michael Cole now. And folks, coming up next, it is Andy Tay taking on the man in Hell in the Bloody Blood House. JR, by God, Terry Funk says smile, by God!
You know, I was just going to call this episode season finale, but I might just have to call it Hell in the Bloody Blood House.
You can't beat that. You just can't beat that. Hell in your bloody bloodhounds. We might have to go with that. All right, Pace, you ready for the third one?
Yes.
You're on a roll here. You're on a roll.
Ooh.
I think you'll get this one.
My cheeks are hurting.
I know.
And I'm not talking about my ass, folks.
Number 3. Hogan, who walked inside the cage. Hogan, who walked inside the ring, came out with a loud voice. About 2 minutes before the game, Hogan tried to rally Andre, but did not try to pull the "and" year. But Andre lost it after a season. Andre in Hogan ring, I tried to hug a large boot by Hogan by scratching Irish on the far side. And Hogan pulled off the rope and washed Andre for the first time.
He must have been so smelly.
That's the first time Andre's ever been washed. Son of a bitch. Gotta pull off the rope and wash that bastard. After that, Hogan hulk up, scoop hit 525 pounds, 238 kilograms, large, cut the rope, and ran the leg to win the Tumble Championship. I want them to bring back the Tumble. # bring back the Tumble Championship.
And run the leg some more, please.
Run the leg and win the Tumble Championship.
WrestleMania 3.
WrestleMania. Man, how could it be anything else? That was, it's known throughout the annals of pro wrestling history as the first time Andre was washed.
Right.
I mean, that gave it away right there. They didn't even change anything in the
that
translation.
That put both men on the map.
Exactly. When the first time Andre was washed, it was like, holy shit. God damn. I think this is hilarious because there's a stereotype about French people being smelly and nasty. And it's like, we didn't write this. This was translated. I took the literal description in English. I translated it to Japanese. I translated it to Samoan. Then back to English. And somehow, in that time, they still made a French people are smelly joke. Like, this wasn't me. This was Google came up with that shit. I don't know. Oh, I'm so proud of you, Paystee. You're kicking ass on this. You're kicking ass. You're unstoppable. I say that at the hardest.
I'm unwashable.
Unwashable. At 525 pounds, 238 kilograms.
Hey, we got to do that. We got listeners all over the world.
We do. We got people who have been following the Tumble Championship for ages.
It's my favorite championship. Right up there next to the $1 Million Championship.
Damn right. That and the David Arquette Memorial Championship. The motherfucker's kicking ass, man.
Yes, he is.
I'm proud of him. I'm very proud of him. All right, number 4, Paystee. Number 4. Here we go. Above all, John Cena protected the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Brock Lesnar. In the first 30 seconds of the game, Lesnar ran to F5 and Cena in the near future.
Wow. Time traveling.
Lamia ran too many German suplexes. Total, 16. But Cena managed to break the good in a short time. Cena made a close relationship with changing the situation. Then Lesnar sat down, practiced The Undertaker, and laughed. Cena used STF to Lesnar, but Lesnar ran and ran F.
That's an F4.
To get the name. Practice The Undertaker. Okay,
This was fairly recent. This was... God, I can't think of the event.
It is pretty iconic, I'm going to tell you that. I picked very iconic matches, so this one is an iconic match.
Which pay-per-view was this?
This was the one where Lesnar ran F to get the name.
So this is where Lesnar earned his name, huh?
Apparently.
He was known as Lisa beforehand.
Before it was Lisa. Yeah, it wasn't until this match with them 4 Fs. And he got
Where's the 5th F? That's my question.
Well, you know, he had to practice The Undertaker even more. You only practiced The Undertaker enough for 4 Fs. He didn't practice The Undertaker enough for 5 Fs.
God.
Yeah. He had more to
was
go.
this Royal Rumble?
This was not Royal Rumble. But give me the guys and what it was for.
Well, it was Lesnar and Cena for the WWE Championship. And this is the one where Lesnar, like, took the shit out of Cena the whole match.
Yep. You know which one it is. Okay, it was SummerSlam.
There you go.
14,
I figured it was that, but
2014.
I don't know. I didn't want to say SummerSlam because...
Yeah.
But that makes sense.
This was the
2 big
first
names.
time-
Yeah. This was
This was the invention of Suplex City and the first time
shortly
we really
after
seen
Cena tied Ric
decimated.
Flair's record. Yeah.
Yep. So it is an iconic match. You get a half a point for
I'll
that
take
one
that.
because you knew what it was. You couldn't quite remember which event it was. I wasn't sure where this was on the iconic scale, but I knew you would at least know what it is. All right, Paystee, we got 2 more left to go.
All right.
Next one is number 5. Number 5, Johnny 5 is alive. All right, Paystee. It's the first official game of Sting in WWE. In the middle of the game, Triple H's Sutin locks up on a rocket lock.
My favorite submission.
A Triple H of Degeneration X DX partner enters the ball and tries to interfere with the game. The beat of Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, X-Pac under the Triple H line was sent out and released to 4 men from the rope. Triple H carrying out an immune system in the area of the fall, rising from under the ring. The New World 3 people vaccine. What the fuck? Where does this come from? Where the fuck did we got immune systems?
The New World 3 people.
Oh my god. Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, when I invited them. Who the fuck I am is I don't know. Now it's in a first person shit. When I invited him. Alright. The delegate took DX out, but scored 3H with the Scorpion Death Drop, dismissing 3H from the last attempt. 3HH markings and the other Scorpion dead mate. This is the best part. This is the one that they replay in all the fucking highlights, was when Triple H found her in a car. Okay, folks, for those of you who are just listening and can't read this, the very last sentence of this description of this match is, Triple H found her in a car.
I'm fucking crying over here.
Oh my god! I love this! This is my new favorite game of all time.
This isn't going to be even a game going forward. All of season 2 of Beef Sticks Podcast, all of our show notes are going to be put through translation. And this is what you guys are going to get.
Oh, no shit. This is so much fun. I love it. Triple H found her in a car.
3HH markings and the other Scorpion dead mate. They fucked to the death.
Right? I'm still amazed at Triple H carrying out an immune system of the New World 3 people vaccine. When I invited him. like out of nowhere, I came out. That's the first time we've been in the first person here.
Oh, that's WrestleMania. Sting versus Triple H from 4 years ago.
Paystee, you nailed it. That is exactly what that is. WrestleMania 31, Sting versus Triple H. I mean, I knew it gave it away when Triple H found her in a car.
Right,
I knew as soon as it said that, I was like, fuck, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. Triple H found her in a car. Fuck. No guessing here. Every fucking pro wrestling fan knows that one. I want to know what the fuck it decided that was. Oh my god. And folks, me personally went through and did all of these, but I didn't sit and read every single one. I literally got the description for the match, copied it, pasted it, switched it to Japanese, copied Japanese, pasted it, switched it to Samoan, copied Samoan, pasted it, switched it to English, copied that, and put it on here. So this is the first time I'm reading all of these also. And it's so much fun. Oh. This just made my night. I was worried about being up too late. Now I just don't even give a fuck
Let's
anymore.
just do this forever.
Right? Fight forever. Fighting with the English language. All right, we got the final one. The main event, Paystee. We got the main event. And it starts out as, the main event was a wrestling contest for WWF World Heavyweight Championship. And Bret Hart made a name against Shawn Michaels. He will be the head of the WWF World Heavyweight Championship, which won the 1992 WrestleMania 12 series. Even though Mr. Hartz did not submit, as Mize ordered Hart's decision, Hart sharpshooter Vince McMahon ordered match referee Earl Hebner to terminate the game with the opportunity to connection no.
Why did he order Earl Hebner to murder Triple H?
That's just what he did. He had to terminate the game. Disappointingly, the least funniest out of all of these that we've had.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't read these. This is the least funniest. But Paystee, I think you know what it is. Give me your guess.
Survivor Series. This is
just
Bret screwed Bret.
Yes, the Montreal Screwjob. Survivor Series 92. Exactly. You got it, Paystee.
All
wow.
right.
You know, out of all of the wild and wacky things, you'd think that one would have a really good one.
Definitely not.
And it came out very boring. Next time I may have to try to filter these a little better. With that being said, 5 out of 6 were fucking hilarious.
Yes, they were.
And if we hadn't have ended with this one, I think it would have just been very good all the way around. But it was not the case.
Whew.
You did an awesome job. You got, out of 6, you got 5.5.
I'll take that.
That's pretty damn good. With as fucked up as everything was, I think that was pretty good. I think you nailed it, Paystee. You know your pro wrestling history, no matter what language it goes through. And I think that goes to show how some matches they defy translation. You just know what they are.
Yes.
They're that iconic.
Whew. Yeah, we're definitely doing this again going forward. Whether it's main events or whatever, this is happening again.
Yeah, movies, main events, story descriptions.
I would really like to do this like we were talking
stories.
about earlier before the show with wrestler theme songs.
I think it would be great. I think it would be great. Like I said, the only thing is I just don't know so many. I know so few wrestler theme songs. It just have to be like these ones. It has to be the iconic ones, you know. And some theme songs, I guess it gets difficult because you get like, you know, I guess that's difficult because like some of the most iconic, you think of Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mankind.
Don't have words.
None of them have any words. Yeah. So it gets kind of hard, but there's got to be enough to get 5, 6, 7 out.
Oh yeah, I mean you got all three McMahons, Triple H.
That's true.
The Rock. No, I don't think you could do that. You could try that. The Rock says, yeah. The Rock.
It'd be interesting what they translate that to. Yeah. Yeah, I mean you could definitely get some in there. The $1 Million Man, you know, money. Who knows?
It'll be good. And if you listeners have any ideas of what you want us to put through the translator ringer, let us know.
Tell us. Let us know. We will always take suggestions. I think it'll be fun. If you have a good suggestion for a name for this, let us know, because I don't like the name I came up with on
Lost in Translation.
I love that. Lost in Translation. There you go, Paystee.
I did it. You guys don't have to do it. Don't bother. It's not like you'd bother
Lost
anyway. Come on.
Right. That was good. Paystee, I'm very proud of you. I think you did amazing.
Oh, my stomach hurts. My face hurts. I'm glad that's over.
So much fun.
Stretch that job.
Well, shit, I guess after all that shit, it's about time to add some sizzle to the steak.
Yes, welcome, folks, to the sizzle section. This week, we're kicking off with some not wrestling-related news, but it is related to kicking off. On Wednesday, the XFL held a press conference to announce the 8 cities and stadiums that would take part in the launch of the league. New York, Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, St. Louis, Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Washington, D.C. will all be a part of the league. The XFL commissioner and CEO, Oliver Luck, stated that the XFL is built for fans and built to last. Didn't work out so well last time. We'll see how that goes. But he claimed it would be fast-paced, affordable, family-friendly, and interactive. He also discussed the 4 major changes that would be coming in the league's second season. The pacing of the game will be more crisp and quicker, with each game lasting 3 hours or less. There will also be rule changes affecting punts, returns, kickoffs, and the play clock as the league moves to create a more meaningful on-field action. Timeouts will be shorter and more limited, and game rules will be simplified to create fewer interruptions for the viewers. Luck also put a strong emphasis on player safety, stating there will be an extensive health and wellness program, including input from an expert medical board. The XFL will begin airing in 2020, the week after the Super Bowl, and will be distributed across multiple platforms. Team names, logos, colors, players, and presidents will be announced in the coming months as well.
So Vince McMahon sat back in an office at a desk and said, I know what people need. People need 6 hours of wrestling at one time, but less than 3 hours of football. Vince is really, really, really out of what people want, isn't he?
I don't know. I'm totally fine with less football.
Yeah, but you don't watch football.
I'll watch the XFL. I watched
and
it last time.
Is not. Yeah, but XFL is not for people that don't watch football. It's for football fans.
I think it's for people who don't watch football. It's a viable alternative to the NFL.
So you could see yourself watching 3 hours of Raw, 2 hours of SmackDown.
Yeah, I could see myself watching those shows last year.
An hour of NXT UK, a 6-hour pay-per-view, and a 3-hour XFL game. All within the same week.
Well, I don't watch Raw and SmackDown, so that frees up some time.
But we don't know because we haven't watched it. Obviously, when it first comes out, we're going to check it out. But do you feel, in your heart of hearts going forward, if you had to give up some time for some of them, what would be some of the first? And would XFL not be some of the first you would give up out of that time? And you don't know 100%. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying right now, if you, what do you think?
I don't know. It's hard to say because it's not here yet. Once I see the product and what's on the table.
Well, let's put it this way. How much time do you invest in the NFL?
0.
Okay, so you're obviously this is gonna be the first thing you cut out. Because this is just the NFL, just different.
Yeah. But
you don't
the first
dislike
run
the NFL
through of the
because
XFL,
it's the NFL.
I watched every game.
But were you invested in every game?
Pretty much. Mostly the ones with He Hate Me, my favorite.
Because, like, to me, I don't watch WWE, but I still find time to watch.
Coach in the reboot.
Right?
Coach Hate Me.
I still find time to watch MLW, to watch old wrestling, to watch Ring of Honor, to watch Impact Wrestling. Like, I still find time to watch pro wrestling.
Yeah.
If you're not somebody who goes out of their way to watch football, you're probably not going to change your watching habits to go out of your way to watch just this few 3 hours.
And I'll probably catch a lot of flack for this question, but how long is the average NFL game?
About 6 hours.
And 90% of that's commercials or timeouts. If they can keep the ball moving more often while the cameras are on, keep the timeouts more towards commercial breaks and have less commercial breaks, I could be okay with it. We'll see as time goes. I'm pretty pissed off that once again Minnesota doesn't get a team.
Well, I wanted to go through this. You got the names up of the current cities, yes. Correct? I wanted to compare and contrast to the original XFL teams.
It's got to be right about the same fucking cities.
So that's what I was probably thinking.
I can't remember any of the teams though. So
no,
that
not
doesn't
2020. Help. I think I want to. Well, no, I think I want to go to the original. I think it's this one right here that I was on originally. So we got Birmingham, which would be Alabama. Is that on yours or no? Chicago, no. Las Vegas,
no.
Los Angeles,
yes.
Memphis,
no.
New York,
yes.
Orlando,
no.
Florida, no. San Francisco,
no.
So wow, so literally only one other city that used to have one bought back into this.
Florida still gets it with Tampa Bay though.
That surprises me. Yeah, you still have the but it's
from
different
the sounds
because
of things, from what you're saying to me and what I see on my screen, I feel like they're definitely marketing to better cities.
You're probably right. Because the cities you said I thought all sounded like pretty mainstream major cities. I got to go back here. St. Louis is big for sports. Los Angeles, big for
Dallas.
Sports. Houston and Dallas for sure. Seattle, not a huge city, but big for sports. Tampa Bay is probably your odd one out. Washington, D.C., again, your odd one out.
That's the Trump sucking. That's what that is. Trump will probably own that team.
Trump's more New York than Washington, D.C. by far, even at this time. But yeah, so that's kind of surprising. I thought as you did that it would be very similar cities, and it's actually very not similar cities. So that's neat. That's neat. That either means that the people from before aren't willing and investing in it again, or it means that bigger cities with better prospects are more interested.
Now, mind you, the arenas that they're playing in have a range. I think the biggest one holds like 85,000 occupants, and the smallest is about 20,000 occupants. So I feel like they're going for definitely smaller venues, but
they're going for arenas and not domes for sure. Not like coliseums and shit. Oh, for sure.
I just think it's a crazy spread. 20,000 to 80,000 is a pretty crazy spread of numbers. You'd think they would want them to be a little bit closer together.
If you go with what the whole NFL has, that's probably a similar spread.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's bigger and smaller, probably not as small numbers, but I'm sure they're all bigger numbers, but I'll bet you the spread in between is fairly normal, because I can guarantee you that the Los Angeles ones don't hold as much as, say, the St. Louis ones.
And another thing, I wish there was more cities. It would give more range in the games you're going to see. Because, I mean, from what I've heard, and don't quote me on this because I could be wrong, but this is supposed to span the entire time that the NFL is not in season. So the other half of a year. And that's only 8 teams.
Well, but that's fine if this, unlike the NFL, doesn't have two, like the American League and the National League, then you could easily do that. Because you could have all of them facing off against each other through the whole thing. And then when you get into and just like the NFL, none of the fucking matches matter until you get into the finals. So, I mean, you can have them, just like pro wrestling, you can have them wrestle as much as they fucking want, and none of it matters until the shit's on the line, you know what I mean? So, I guess it's not a big deal. You know, as we said when this first came out, it's just going to be interesting to keep watching and see what happens. The NFL has been taking quite a hit lately. I know Vince thinks he can change that.
But Vince can't even keep ratings up on his own company's shows.
I know. I personally just think that sports in general are taking a hit now. And you know what? I know that there's a big section of everybody, and possibly our listeners, that say that the taking a knee is hurting a lot of the views from NFL. But I honestly think there's more people behind taking a knee than against it.
Yeah. You're just basically weeding out the dirt. That's it.
Yeah, I don't think that's the issue. I don't know. I can't come out there and say that.
Well, I think taking the knee, that's the mentality of this generation of Americans. And that generation of Americans wouldn't be as into football as the red-blooded, side of things.
You're saying only racists like football?
I'm saying the vast majority of racists probably love football.
I think they love American pastimes, yeah. I'll give you that. They're hooked on to what they're familiar with, and American pastimes for sure. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I don't think that many football fans give a shit about taking a knee. And honestly, I don't think they give a shit about taking a knee one way or the other. I think the majority of football fans just want to fucking watch football and could give a fuck less what happens while the national anthem is playing. I'd be willing to bet if you took a fucking anonymous vote and got rid of the national anthem altogether, it would fucking win over by a landslide.
And I'm not at all foaming at the mouth about the taking the knee thing. I'm in full support of that. I mean, if you don't want to say the Pledge of Allegiance, go for it. I don't give a shit. If you don't want to, any of that old school patriot shit doesn't need to fly. It's not mandatory. This is a free country, and you're able to do what you want. Except for censoring Baby It's Cold Outside and getting it banned. Now there's something to be pissed off about.
Because of the rapey tone?
Yeah, but it was not written with that intent.
It was pretty fucking rapey from the beginning.
I don't think so.
From the first time I heard that song, I was like, hot damn.
Yeah, but I mean, the first time you heard that song, it was still around for quite a few years, decades.
Oh yeah, it was.
Back when it was written.
But it was written at a time
and gentlemen
when a man
and courting
could rape a woman.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was written at a time that it was okay to rape a woman. Like, that was how you got your wife. Honestly, before 1970, every wife was found by some man punching her and raping her. Every one. I can back that up with facts.
I'd like to see those facts.
Okay, look at marriage certificates. Were they married? Were all the husbands and wives married legally? If they were, There you go. I didn't know it was banned. I think it's stupid. It's banned because there's worse fucking songs.
There's worse Christmas songs.
That's why I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. There's fucking Jingle Bell Rock. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Get the fuck out of here. Grandma got ran over by a reindeer. That's promoting murder of the elderly. That's elderly abuse and murder. It's horrible.
And now people are all up in arms
outside.
because Rudolph was bullied. Like, that's the whole fucking story. He comes out a winner in the end.
That was the point of it, was he overcame adversity. Yeah, there is so much bullshit. And if you look for it, you're going to find it. But we talked about this, whether this was on, I don't know if it was on Buttered Pop Culture, if it was on Beef Sticks, but we had talked about this where you can't go back and look at old situations
and judge them
decide that now they're not okay. Baby, it's cold outside. That motherfucker raped that woman. She did not want to fuck him. She ended up fucking him. It's written in the song. We all know it. But that was literally okay at the time. And she was probably fine with marrying him afterwards. And she probably stayed with him the rest of her life.
Back when it was written, it was very taboo to have non-marital sex. And she's being coy about it and doesn't want her name to be dragged through the mud by anybody. That's what it's about.
Yeah, but you can't just say that because we live in today's society that can't happen. That'd be like saying we can't have Jurassic Park movies because dinosaurs don't exist now. It's not okay. Dinosaurs don't exist. Fucking put a stop to this shit, folks. No more ghost movies. Ghosts aren't real. Put a stop to this shit, folks. You know? Can't go to space. Mars shit doesn't exist. Put a stop to that shit, folks. It's fucking crazy. Neil deGrasse Tyson. He just got busted for raping some bitches. So now we know that fucking climate fucking change and all that.
Science is all wrong.
Can't fucking make a movie about that anymore either. Shut it down. We had 3 people that told us climate change was real. We had 3 people. First, there was fucking internet. Super Theory. Help me out, Paystee.
Al Gore.
Al Gore. First, there was Al Gore. Al Gore said that if there was climate change, shit was going wrong. Global warming and all that shit. Yeah, he fucking claimed to invent the internet and claimed to invent Man Bear Pig. Both fake. Can't believe him.
Man Bear Pig is real.
Then Bill Nye, the science guy, came out and said it. I looked up. Bill Nye, the science guy, has no fucking college credits in environmental science or environmental law.
No, he's just a science spokesperson.
Doesn't know what the fuck he said.
He's just a face that people know and
trust. He's just a fucking... Yeah, he's a child's actor. He's Barney.
It would be like
Barney.
Mr. Rogers being a political activist.
Yeah, then there was Neil deGrasse Tyson. I put all my faith in that son of a bitch. Now it's come out. He fucking diddled and dawdled in about 4 broads and raped 1. God damn it. There goes climate control. Yep. Out the window. It doesn't exist. We're done.
Stephen Hawking is dead. We've got nobody else to fall back on.
Yep. Buy your fucking SUV, you bastards. Throw coal in industrial plants. It's all free game now.
That was a fun little ranty rant.
What a world we live in.
Oh, what a world. I'm melting. It's climate
Sad
change.
Part is, I don't even know what part of that I believe and don't believe yet. That's how fucked up all this shit is. I haven't even caught up to what I think is real and not real yet. Like, goddamn, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what Eric Bischoff thinks is real.
What does Bischoff think is real?
Well, Mr. Bish recently hosted a TED Talks on the topic of news media, taking cues from professional wrestling psychology, making comparisons between broadcasters and wrestlers, stating it is their job to make people feel emotion and not think about what it is they are viewing.
Say it isn't so.
It is so.
This was a great TED Talk.
Yes.
I like TED Talks. And when I seen Bischoff was on there, I was like, oh man, I gotta check this one out.
Honestly, my extent with TED Talks is Eric Bischoff and James Veach. So I probably don't got a lot to go on there, but I liked it.
But he made so much sense.
Yeah.
He truly pointed out exactly how they have copied the pro wrestling world. And you can't even say that pro wrestling copied the news media world, because news media has changed so much that they weren't doing what they're doing now. And pro wrestling has literally been a thing since the 1800s at very least. So you can put an exact correlation between how wrestling tells you how to feel and how to act by portraying certain things one way or the other. As Bischoff said, they make you feel, not think. If I can come out and know I can make you feel this way, you're not going to think the other way. Add on to that yes, Ted Turner, who created 24-hour news, is the same person who owned World Championship Wrestling, which was the largest and most successful pro wrestling organization in the mid to late 90s. And yes, folks, Ted Turner invented cable news and 24-hour news. It did not exist before CNN. That was not a thing. You had to turn on your radio, or if you were lucky enough to have a TV, from 10 to 11 to get your news, and you had to pick up a newspaper. Until Ted Turner came out in, I want to say 88, maybe 89, and came out with CNN, which literally had news 24/7. And back then, it was very different than it is now.
Yeah. Well, I suppose the good news here is it only took wrestling 220 odd years to for fans to stop feeling what they were told to feel and started thinking on their own. So eventually people will start thinking on their own when it comes to the news too. Just give it another 100 years.
Another 100, 150 years before people start thinking on their own. Isn't that the saddest thing? If you look at the correlation that, it could possibly be that long before people actually think.
It's rough. And I mean, yeah, here and there is some hopes and glimmers, but not when it comes to actual news media. You have to really dig to find, sources that don't side with one side or the other and only give one side of a story.
If I'm just going to give my personal opinion, which people can take that with a grain of salt and do whatever they want. BBC, watch BBC News, and it is probably at best the most non-committed news source that you're going to find, the most bipartisan news source you're going to find. It might lean one way a little more than the other, and I'll come out and say it. It might lean a little more left than right, but for the most part, if you look at what CNN says, if you look at what Headline News says, if you look at what Fox says, if you look at what CNN says, those four news are going to be vastly, vastly different, where at least BBC News, Al Jazeera News used to be very good also, and it got a really bad name during the Iraq War because it's Al Jazeera, but it was no, Al Jazeera was the one that was against all of the terrorist shit. Like, they were against all of that. They were the ones saying all the news about the terrorist stuff because they were against it. And as soon as everybody always heard that Al Jazeera News said this, Al Jazeera News got this videotape of the terrorists. They thought it was a terrorist news organization. Yeah. It's not. It's a very anti-terrorist news organization.
Shit, wasn't that was PBS too, wasn't it? I mean, they have their own network, obviously, but that shit was on PBS when we were young.
PBS would run Al Jazeera, so would BBC.
Public broadcasting,
a lot
it's
of them
owned by the people. It's...
Yeah, Al Jazeera would be their form of PBS, correct. And BBC is also, BBC is their form of PBS. That is the public, and it isn't really...
Then why can't I watch Doctor Who whenever I want to?
You can on BBC, but not BBC America.
Right, jerks.
You need to find BBC, Paystee. That's your problem. You're stuck on BBC America, which is basically BBC Light.
They took away Doctor Who right when they were going to give us a woman doctor, and I haven't got to experience any of that. God damn it. Something tells me that's not the BBC. Something tells me that's America.
It probably
you take
is,
this Doctor Who shit away from here.
Because BBC is airing Doctor Who. It's BBC America that isn't giving you what you want. Them bastards. Well, you know America, they're going to stop it when a woman starts getting in charge. Just ask Hillary.
Right. You get Trump instead.
Right. Trump forever, Paystee.
Yes. Million years. The guy's got czars now. I mean, are we even a democracy anymore?
We've had czars since the 80s.
Yeah, but like he's bringing them back in a big way. I don't know. I don't know politics. I don't pretend to know politics. I try not to care about politics, but
I don't either, Paystee. But talking about Trump forever, Fight Forever Wrestling, which is a fairly new independent promotion in the UK, had their first show on Thursday night. Fight Forever Wrestling Phenomena,
which didn't feature AJ Styles, surprisingly.
It did not. But they did crown a new men's and women's champions in the process. Millie McKenzie took home the Fight Forever Wrestling Women's Championship in a match in a triple threat against Kaylee Ray and...
There was another one.
And someone else
I don't know
also.
where that went.
But
and Flip Gordon.
Flip Gordon bested Mark Haskins to win the men's Fight Forever Wrestling Gold. The company is currently in the midst of a 4-day tour to promote the launch of the promotion.
I am going to correct my news here too, because from what I had read, Flip Gordon just had the championship and he defended it against Mark Haskins. So I think they just crowned him without a match, because I wasn't able to find anything about his actual crowning match.
Although Fight Forever Wrestling, I'm fairly certain, has had matches before tonight also, because they've been around for a little while, so I don't think it's their first show.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll look into this.
Yeah, we'll dig more into it. I mean,
maybe this was a fluke.
It's just coming to fruition. We'll be following it.
Hey, folks, it sure was funny when we talked about that Bloody Bloodhouse match, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell in the Bloody Bloodhouse.
Oh, yeah. Somebody who was really into the Bloody Bloodhouse was good old George H.W. Bush. What do you know about him, Paystee?
Well, it turns out the former POTUS, George H.W., was secretly a wrestling fan behind the scenes. During his memorial service on Wednesday, Veterans Affairs Secretary Robert Wilkie shared a story about the former president and his wife. And this is his story. President Bush had a very special place, not only in his heart, but in the heart of veterans across the country. Not only in my heart, but in the heart of veterans across the country. I'm not going to be somber on that. I'm going to tell you something he would be proud of. I got the chance to know him and Mrs. Bush a little bit. They were remarkable people. Coming from a background they had, you would not expect them to be as comfortable on Main Street as they were on Wall Street. I had just started as a young staffer on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. I was working for the ranking member at the time, Senator Jesse Helms of North Carolina. And I received a call from the White House for a 20-something-year-old. That was quite an event. Almost the event that Hell in a Bloody Bloodhouse was. The operator got on, told me please hold for the First Lady's office. Mrs. Bush's secretary got on, and she was whispering. She said, "Mr. Wilkie, we have something to request." I listened. She said, "Does Senator Helms know a great American personality by the name Ric Flair?" I told her, "Yes, ma'am. Senator Helms actually started televised wrestling in North Carolina in the 1950s. I asked why. She replied, "We don't talk about this very much, but the President and Mrs. Bush watch Mr. Flair every Saturday night. They're going to Charlotte, and they'd like to know if Mr. Flair would accompany them on Air Force One." I said I would get back to her. I called the Charlotte office in the National Wrestling Alliance and got his promoter, appropriately named Davy Crockett. I said I have a special request. They said, he'll be there. So there he was at Air Force Base. Platinum hair, 3-piece suit, gold watch. The first hug Rick gets is from Barbara Bush when she gets out of the limousine. We fly down to Charlotte. We get in the reception line at the airport. And Barry Goldwater is there too. Goldwater gets up and asks the president, where's Barbara? And the president tells him, Barry, after 48 years of marriage, I just lost her to someone called the Nature Boy. That was George and Barbara Bush to me. Their presence will be greatly missed. Yes, George and Barbara Bush, swingers through and through. Took her on a trip to Space Mountain.
Ric Flair
Do you think that's
Barbara
where he got
Bush.
his high-riding jet flying from? You know, first trip on Air Force One?
Woo! He was a wheeling, dealing, kiss-stealing son of a gun.
I like how he says Mr.
For
Bush
all
would
of
be
you-
proud
all
of
of
this
you that
story.
may be
And that's a
wondering-
story about him losing his wife to Ric Flair.
I don't.
I mean, I'd be
guess.
proud.
For those of you wondering, David Crockett is the son of Jim Crockett, who owned Jim Crockett Promotions, which was bought by Ted Turner and turned into WCW. So he was one of the head guys of the NWA at the time. Yeah, that's just fun. That's just fun that this guy's just like, yeah, George W. Bush gave his wife to Ric Flair. What this story doesn't tell you, but Paystee, I've learned to read between the lines. Sometimes it gets me in trouble. Sometimes people get mad at me. I know people look at me and they're like, I never said that. And I'm like, yeah, I know how to read between the lines. I listened to this story and I'm like, so, yeah, Ric Flair came and he fucked Barbara Bush. Yeah, George W. Bush fucked one of the 20-year-old women that Ric Flair was with. I can tell you that. They're out here on this fucking jet plane, and he's banging the president's wife. There's no way the president is not banging one of Ric Flair's broads, okay? George W. Bush fucked one of the Flair fuckers, okay? We know it. I mean, come on. He's the president. He could have Secret Service put a gun to Flair's head and say, you're not touching Barbara. But no, he let Barbara fuck him. And this guy is a close friend of George's, so he'll tell the story of Barbara going off and doing her thing, but he's not going to let out the complete story about how George was doing the same thing.
I just like to imagine, like, their entire marriage, they've got their one free pass. And the whole time, Barbara's like, Ric Flair. It's got to be Ric Flair. I like how it wasn't even the president's office that reached out. It was Barbara's office. So even if Bush wasn't down for it, it was going to happen.
I like how Barbara's was Ric Flair, and I'm just guessing George's was like Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah, right.
Well, let me tell you something, Barbara. If I could get that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, ooh, that RBG, she does something to me. Oh, yeah, I might trim the pubic hairs in that one, Barbara, if you know what I mean. We'll be warming up some cookies for some hot apple pie, Barbara.
And you could bet he wouldn't have told that story had the president still been alive.
He
was sworn to secrecy.
Yeah. Since we haven't heard it since, I'm pretty sure we'd have heard the story about Barbara fucking Ric Flair beforehand if it had been out. Yeah. Woo! You gotta love it. I love it. I mean, Rick loves it. Barbara loves it. George is maybe the only guy who doesn't love it. I don't know.
Right.
But he's gone. Fuck him.
That story was very incredible. You want to tell us another incredible story?
This story isn't just great. This story isn't just fantastic. Paystee, this story is just incredible. Because former ECW star Justin Credible was taken into custody on Tuesday for misdemeanor assault with multiple charges aimed at him, including criminal mischief and 3 instances of violating a protection order. Now, to make things clear, it has been reported that Justin lives with his family, most of which actually have orders of protection against him already in the case that something happens. These are preemptive orders. We know shit's already happened in the past. They know shit's going to happen in the future. That's what happened. So this could actually explain the 3 counts against him. When the police were reached out to regarding the case, they responded that the 45-year-old man had multiple run-ins with the law since his last arrest in September, and he had recently turned down a WWE-sponsored rehab program that WWE is usually, or is very famous for handing out. They're more than willing to give anybody who has wrestled with them rehab as long as they're willing to take it.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't sound like a very credible guy to me.
He's incredible.
Uncredible?
Uncredible, incredible.
Just uncredible. I love how members of his family whom he lives with have orders of protection just in case something happens.
Yeah, I mean...
if there's an order for protection, he shouldn't be in the house, right?
Well, legally, no. And legally, if they let him in, they are a violation of it also. So, there's some unanswered questions here. I know this from secondhand knowledge. I personally have never had an order of protection against me, and I've never had an order of protection against somebody else. But I do have secondhand knowledge of order of protection, and I know of at least one case I know of 100% where one person had an order of protection against another person, and the person who issued the order of protection invited said person who is not supposed to be around over, and when things went wrong and the police showed up, the person who invited said person was arrested because they were the ones who violated. Order of protection goes both ways, no matter who issues it. So, if I issue an order of protection against you, Paystee, let's say, and I tell you to come over, I am the one violating the order of protection. You are not. So yeah, there are some unanswered questions here. But obviously, if all of his family members, at least 3 of them, have orders of protection against him, it's his fault. I'm not stupid. He did something to fuck it up because they, like you said, they wouldn't have it without there being previous issues. It's sad. Just another case of pro wrestlers making pro wrestlers look bad.
Yeah. Yep. Well, hopefully he gets the help he needs and sobers up now.
That's all you can hope for. And I hope he takes it.
I'm sure if he accepts that WWE-sponsored rehab program, his stay will be a lot shorter. And now for something just incredulous. Apparently, USADA could be cooking the books on behalf of Brock Lesnar, according to a tweet from @DimSpace, very credible resource, because I've heard of him ever in my life. It appears test results have been deleted. @DimSpace tweets, I've gone through USADA's UFC's XML with a fine-tooth comb. Only Lesnar's test numbers have dropped between 1128 and 712. No other fighters affected. The sample is from 710 reporting, or 1017 reporting period. 2 samples reported from that week originally, but one has vanished or been removed. Granted, this could be a numerous amount of things. 2 from that week, it could have been put in an error and taken away. But there is a chance here that USADA is cooking the books to get Brock Lesnar in the UFC, even if he doesn't deserve it. And I mean, didn't they do that for him last time, kind of?
In all honesty, I don't think USADA is different than any other organization out there, and I think if there's money to be made, I don't see them not cooking the books on it. Although, as you said, this isn't the most credible source, so I think we need to wait and see what kind of information actually comes out. But
in the comments on that tweet, there have been other people who have tweeted they know people who also like go through that list on a daily basis, just knowing Lesnar's there, super Lesnar fans and shit like that, who go through and can confirm as well that test went missing. But I mean, that could be, like I said, chalked up as something as simple as an entry error.
Oh,
yeah, there was
easily.
2 that week. Could have typed one in on accident and then had to go back and fix it.
Yeah, there's so many things that could have happened that it's just, until there's more to go on, it's hard to say one way or the other. Would I be shocked if USADA is taking money in order to change their tests? Fuck no.
No way.
God forbid somebody tell me that boxing and UFC is fixed. Holy shit, I would be flabbergasted. Say it ain't so. Fucking pro wrestling fans are some of the few people that already fucking know all these things are fixed. It's like, I always say, back in the day, everybody thought pro wrestling was legit, and it came out they were fixed. And all those same people say, but boxing and MMA is legit. Shut the fuck up.
People are paid to take falls in boxing all the time.
Oh, yeah. That's how they make their money. NFL, MLB, all of those. I can guarantee you, at the beginning of the season, the main players in the NFL, the main people that run the NFL and have their hands in the money, know which 2 teams are in the Super Bowl that year.
Oh, yeah. Last year is a perfect example
now, sometimes,
to that. With the Vikings doing very well for most of the season because the Super Bowl was going to be held in Minnesota.
Yeah, and sometimes
drum up
that
some
can
attention
change.
And then cut them off at the end.
If you remember when, was it New Orleans? Yeah, I think I want to say when New Orleans ended up getting the hurricane, all of a sudden they came up and shot through the ranks and then they won the Super Bowl. And it's like, oh, it's because they had the spirit and everybody fought so hard. It was like, no, it's because they knew they could fucking market the shit and it was smart to have them win. They're not dumb. All of this shit, MLB, the baseball, hockey, all of that shit, everything. If there's millions and millions of dollars at stake, nobody is leaving it to chance. That would just
hate
be
to break
stupid.
it to you, Bischoff. The news ain't the only one stealing professional wrestling psychology. All these organizations are telling you what to feel and not what to think.
The problem is, pro wrestling was the first ones to realize that they could make money by exposing it.
Yeah.
The rest of them haven't realized that yet. Which is fine, because they're making plenty of money without it. Until they're not.
Until they're not.
Yeah, it comes down to the 0 hour, Paystee.
Yes, indeed. The MLW Zero Hour, and I have to say, I've been watching a fair share of MLW since our last session here on B-Sticks Podcast. And I really enjoy that product.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with MLW. It may not be the best wrestling ever in the world,
but it's the easiest accessible.
That, and it's probably the most fun right now.
Mm-hmm.
Between NXT, Impact, and MLW, I'd even go out and say that Lucha Underground is more convoluted right now and harder. Lucha Underground is awesome, and I love it, and I love the storylines, but it's getting to be a lot like a lot of my other series would get to, where it's like, I have to work hard to follow all the storylines, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Lucha Underground's really not even on my radar right now.
Yeah, and you got Impact Wrestling, MLW, NXT, those 3 right now. I can just sit and watch and enjoy myself for an hour and not give a shit about anything else. And they have a big live show coming up, folks, on December 14th. I believe that's a Saturday, Paystee. Am I correct?
I do think so.
No, it's a Friday. You just lied to me. Why do you lie to me?
Well, they do air their show on Friday, so that would make a lot of sense.
Yes, December 14th, this coming Friday.
Now, but in defense of yourself and myself and everyone's self, they have a weekend of events planned that weekend.
They have a lot. They have Never Say Never, which is coming up on the 13th of that week, which has a lot of big shows also that we could easily go over. They got other ones. If you watch it on YouTube, it comes out on Sunday, so there's a little bit of a lag there. So, for sure. But this event looks really good. I'm excited for it. I am going to watch it. I looked up Never Say Never, and it came up with Justin Bieber. What happens if I put MLW? Do I get... Hey, there we go. That's last year's. That is not this year's. It is Matt Riddle versus Tom Lawler. And that is not what's happening this year. I'm fairly certain because Matt Riddle is in NXT.
Filthy Tom Lawler.
I love Filthy Tom Lawler.
Maybe he'll be washed for the first time.
just like who the fuck was washed for the first time?
Andre.
Thank you. Man, I was already gone from that. Oh, Never Say Never, December 13th. So that one, which is also going to be a very good show, but we're not doing this one because I honestly feel that 0 Hour is a much bigger show and is going to have a bigger impact. Never Say Never is going to see Desmond Xavier versus Andrew Everett, so we're going to get a light heavyweight thing there. We get DJZ versus Hijo de LA Park. Paystee, what does that translate to in English? Son of LA Park. You are damn right.
The colorful one.
Yes. Hijo de LA Park, which is Son of LA Park. That's presented by Selena de la Renta, which is part of Presentio de Rado, which is the presentation of gold. She's so amazing. We also see Dragon Lee.
She is.
I know, right? Ow. One of the best cruiserweights out there taking on Rich Swann. Another one of the most fantastic cruiserweights you're ever going to find. We got the leader of Los Ingobernables, Rush, taking on Shane Strickland. Yes, folks, for those of you who pay attention and watch New Japan Pro Wrestling and know Los Ingobernables de Japón, if you would turn into MLW, you would get to see some of the folks from the original Los Ingobernables. This is no de Japón.
De Mexico.
Exactly. And the leader, Rush, takes on Shane Strickland. He had his first ever match in MLW. Actually, tonight, Sunday. Saturday? Did they come out today? Maybe Saturday's when they come out.
They come out today. On Fridays. I'm telling you, Fridays.
Okay, Friday. Well, what the fuck
MLW
is today?
Pops up on YouTube. This is Sunday.
No, it's Sunday. Sunday is when MLW comes off. Today was the first day that Rush was on MLW.
I saw it yesterday.
I believe you did, but it's Sunday. Go and check it. We also see Filthy Tom Lawler taking out the man who sold him out to Promotion Dorado, Simon Gotch.
That's going to be a good one.
And this is a no-holds-barred fight. So you're going to just
both
see
men
a
undefeated
knocker.
in MLW.
Yes, folks. Then we get a Falls Count Anywhere match. LA Park, the original chairman, the man known as La Parka, taking on Sammy Callahan. Yes, folks, Falls Count Anywhere. These two are hardcore legends, and you're just going to see a fucking brawl for it all. And the main event is going to see Pentagon Jr. with Conan in his corner taking on Teddy Hart with the Hart Foundation in his corner. Pentagon Jr. being the MLW tag
Does
team
Pentagon
champion
Jr. wrestle under a different name in MLW, though?
Yes, it's Penta El Cerro, Cerro M. like Zero Miato.
Yeah.
You know what Zero Miato?
Zero Miato.
Yeah, no fear. So it's Penta Zero M is his name there. Yeah. Because Pentagon Jr. is legally owned by, like, AAA. Same with, like, La Parka. He has to be LA Park because La Parka's owned by AAA.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it gets into all of that wacky shit. So, yeah. It's Penta Zero M.
Has LA Park always been as rotund as he is currently?
No, but he has always been a rotund, large luchador. If you go back to his mid-90s WCW matches, he was usually, him and Psychosis were the two biggest of the guys, and they did a lot of the power moves.
Yeah.
So he was never a Rey Mysterio, Juventud Guerrera, Billy Kidman sized guy.
Okay.
He was always a heavyweight, not a super heavyweight, but WCW just always put all luchadors in the cruiserweight category.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Just because it was the style. But that wasn't even the match we were talking about. Holy shit, really, Fat Mack? That sounds amazeballs!
As you know, we didn't cast our predictions for it. We could have. We didn't.
We could, we didn't. Fuck it. But coming up in MLW Zero Hour, we got the battle of the big bitches here coming up, folks. Super heavyweight battle. Ace Romero topping in at just about 400 pounds, taking on Barrington Hughes that topples the scales at over 420.
Ooh, that's a good number. That's my pick.
You're taking Barrington, huh?
Yes. I'm not very familiar with either of these guys. They may have been in the Battle Riot, but I'm not sure.
I'm going Barrington also, just because he's got more going behind him at this point in time.
Right.
I think he has
I'd pick Ace, but he's no Rocky.
He is no Rocky. You nailed that. Up next, we got Dragon Lee versus DJ Z. Dragon Lee is one of the fastest up-and-coming luchadors from the Mexican circuit. DJ Z has been wrestling for eons under the DJ Z or Zima Ion or DJ Zima Ion moniker. He's former X Division champion in Impact Wrestling.
Well, you can pick first, I suppose.
I'm going to go with Dragon Lee. I think he's got a lot of momentum on his side, and I think he's going to just keep going. And I don't think it hurts DJ Z to fall to Dragon Lee, and I think it helps Dragon Lee to go against a veteran like DJ Z and go over.
Well, I happen to be a little biased here because my initials are Jay-Z, and I got a D, so I'm going to go with DJZ because of the shared initials and the fact that I think Dragon Lee is pretty backhanded stab at Brandon Lee, the Crow. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because obviously Brandon Lee was the last dragon.
Well, he was the last dragon, but he wasn't the last dragon.
I don't know what that means.
I have no idea what it means either. It's open for interpretation. Next, we have the leader of Los Ingobernables, Rush. Not to be confused with Rush, folks. Rush. Taking on, I did not beat my woman, Rich Swann. Rush versus Rich, Paystee.
Yeah, it's got to be Rich Swann, right?
You're going Swann.
He's a big star on the circuit right now, and I think he's got to get over.
I'm going Rush. I'm going to let Rush. He's new to MLW. I think they're going to let them get a win here. I think it will help Los Ingobernables. I know that everywhere outside of Mexico, Los Ingobernables is overshadowed by Los Ingobernables de Japón.
Yes.
And I think this is a good way for them to get the brand out there, especially with Bullet Club going down.
Yeah.
So De Japon's actually going to get bigger in Japan, I would only assume. I think this is a good chance for them to grow. So I'm going to go with Rouge.
Yeah, where do you think the Bullet Club's going to go from here anyway?
I mean, apparently the new organization, we don't know till we know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I honestly don't know. There's a good chance that they're building this organization and they put a lot of work into this and it all falls through before there's even anything.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the elite. I'm talking about the leftover ones that aren't elite.
Oh, the ones who aren't elite? Oh,
yes.
They're going to go on and fucking main event and take over New Japan for sure.
You think the Bullet Club's still going to be strong? I don't know that it can.
It is strong. I mean, all those people have been doing really good over there.
All those people? You mean three people? I think is all that's left.
Oh no, shit! There's a shit ton of folks that are part of part of the firing club or the firing squad.
Yeah.
Number one, you got the 3 Tongas with Haku.
Mm-hmm.
You got Bad Luck Fale. You got the Bone Soldier. There's at least 6, and I know I'm missing a few folks here. Oh,
yeah, but it's like Cody said, those are the guys who don't want to go up and above the Call of Duty. They just want to go and fight their matches and do one thing.
Switchblade Jay White, which is 7. So you got Switchblade Jay White in there.
Yeah, Jay White. That's a
so
there's at
least 7 guys there. Not everybody, Paystee, can be number 1. And if you're going to have Okada and you're going to have Jay White, I mean, Jay White's at the top of the card right now. You got Okada, you got Jay White, you got Tanahashi. You got Ishii, you got all of these guys, plus it brings room for other guys to come up. For sure. I think for sure that Bullet Club is going to stay at the top of the card as they always have. They've always only had one guy in the main event and a lot of guys in the lower and mid cards.
Yeah.
And Jay White is their main event guy right now, and he's going to stay there, I think. I don't agree with it. To me, Jay White's the least of anybody they've ever put up as their quote-unquote leader, and I'm not a Switchblade Jay White guy.
Same.
But I love Bad Luck Fale. I love the Bone Soldier. I love Tamatanga, Tangaroa, Haku. All of these guys, I'm behind 100%. So I enjoy watching all of them. I think there's a lot that can happen from it. I think there's a chance that they could all break up and Bullet Club could disintegrate, which wouldn't even be negative.
That's where I'm feeling it's heading to. I don't want to see that happen, but there's a lot of repair to do after the Elite takes their leave. Like
there is. It'll be interesting to see.
Maybe
happens.
With the Japanese fan base, they'll still be strong, but New Japan lost a whole lot of eyes from around the world when the Elite decided to separate ways.
Yeah, but they didn't have control in that. So all they can do is do damage control from here forward. You know what I mean? I'm sure they didn't choose to lose those guys. And to be fair, every single one of those guys can still compete on a New Japan card.
Oh, yeah.
They're just not contractually obligated to only appear there.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't mean that we still won't get pay-per-views with all of them guys on there.
Right.
We just don't know. I mean, there's a lot of questions, which is good. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like a lot of questions we're looking forward to the answers to. That seems the opposite of what WWE does, where there's a lot of questions and we don't give a fuck what happens. I like where there's a lot of questions that I'm like, ooh, what could this be? It's the difference of me coming to the Christmas tree on Christmas morning and being like, ooh, what could this be? As opposed to me going to the litter box Friday evening being like, oh, what could this be? Like that's my best analogy for like WWE compared to New Japan right now. It's sad, but that's what it is. We picked our guys. I don't know where we're at.
We're at the middleweight title ladder match. Desmond Xavier versus Cotto Brazil versus Andrew Everett versus Jason Cade.
For the middleweight title in a ladder match. This could be the match, again, that steals the night. I don't know why I say it again, because it's the first time I implied that this would steal the night. Again! For the first time ever! You went first last time. I'm going to say...
Oh my God. Now I got to harken back to NXT UK, because in the match between Toni Storm and, God, who's the women's champion over there now?
I thought Toni Storm was the women's champion.
No, Toni Storm lost to... God, what the fuck is her name?
Who did she lose to then?
Hang on.
I guess Toni Storm is who I was thinking as their champion, so you'd have to let me know. Who it is, Paystee?
I'm getting there. Rhea Ripley.
Oh, yes, actually, I you know what, now that you said that, I didn't know. Rhea Ripley, the one that fucking, took out, I'm spacing off her name now. The gal that was gonna win the Mae Young Classic, who was out earlier before and then got injured again.
Yeah.
God, and has been such a great heel.
Yeah, she has. And she'll be a really good NXT UK Women's Champion. Toni Storm would be a great one too, but she doesn't need it. She's got all that momentum behind her right now. She truly doesn't. You're right. She truly doesn't need it. Tegan Nox is who she ended up. Yeah, there you go.
She ended up injuring.
But before their match for the championship, Triple H is like, "Are you ready to make history?" And I'm like, "Fuck! I gotta stop watching this program now."
Right.
You're fucking making history with the worst ratings in history.
Exactly. You gotta fucking love that.
Why don't they hold that one up? Like, be proud of that. This is the lowest ratings in Raw history.
I know, right? They never, when it's the first time ever, but it doesn't quite flatter them. And I mean, yes, I know it would be dumb for them to exploit that, but as much as they exploit first-time evers that are so flattering, it accentuates when there's so many negatives.
It might buy them better ratings in the following weeks if they came out and acknowledged it.
What's the worst thing is, though, isn't this has got to be about the fourth time now that they've hit their lowest ratings ever. Like, they're on a
this
fucking
year it's
streak.
just been, how low can you go?
Yeah, it's really, it's really Hermes Conrad all the way. This is the Hermes Conrad year, is what I'm calling this for WWE. Because they're the Limbo Champions.
Right.
This is the Hermes Conrad, the year of Hermes Conrad. If there's like a Chinese astrology,
it would be Hermes.
What do they call it? Zodiac. Chinese Zodiac for WWE. This is the Hermes Conrad year. For sure, man.
So who's gonna win this middleweight title ladder match?
So one thing I love about this that you rarely see in pro wrestling, let alone anywhere else, is this is a match where the one odd guy out is the white guy. So we got Andrew Everett as the only white guy in this middleweight championship ladder match. I don't think he's going to win.
Oh no.
I think and to set the stage, folks, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, had to drop the title due to injury, so that the title is up for grabs.
Vacant.
Nobody has it right now. Vacant has it. Yes, Paystee. MJF did an amazing job with it. He's such a fucking great heel. I think it needs a good face. I think Cotto Brazil is going to take this one. I think I'm fine with it. To be honest, I think anybody could take it, but I am going to go out and say, in a match where only 1 out of 4 guys is white, if the white guy wins it, it doesn't look good.
Right.
Don't let Andrew Everett win it. Just don't let him fucking win it, please. I hate to sound like the anti-racist, but we're just not going to do that. Who do you got, Paystee? Andrew Everett?
Cotto Brazil.
You got Cotto Brazil also?
Uh-huh. He's got the most story going into this thing, I think.
He truly does, and I think it's going to do good for him. You could argue...
Cotto salami might be my least favorite kind, but Cotto Brazil is something special.
Just as you mentioned before with Rhea Ripley, is that maybe Cotto Brazil probably doesn't need it as much as the others, and that could be an argument. But I also think he deserves it more than the others.
Yeah.
So, if they choose to put it on if it's Desmond Xavier or Jason Cade, I'd go with Jason Cade first myself. But if you put it on either one, just to give him a boost, I'd be okay with it. But yeah, I'd personally go Cotto Brazil. Next we have Singapore Kane match. Tommy Dreamer just goes from Young Buck to Young Buck to Young Buck, and we ain't talking about Nick and Matt here.
Right.
To show people respect. Every time there's some young guy out there who won't respect their elders, here comes Tommy Dreamer with his House of Hardcore fucking pants and his polka dots and a Singapore cane.
I love...
Try to teach him the wrestling business, baby.
I love the build-up to this match, though. How
it's
Pillman
good.
Disrespected Tommy Dreamer. Tommy's going to teach him some respect. Tommy did... Wait, No, Brian won. But Tommy goes to shake his hand, and then Brian attacks him more.
Correct.
So
right.
It's a good build-up. This match is going to be really good.
This is going to be good.
I would like to pick first here if I can.
Paystee, I'm not going to allow it. We're just going to skip this match, going to the next one. We got a no disqualification world heavyweight title match. Okay, go ahead, Paystee. Go ahead.
I'll never pick Tommy Dreamer to win another match again. Never. Never, ever.
You're learning!
And I mean, this is the son of Brian Pillman here. And he rocks a mullet like none other in the year 2018.
In 2018,
God, he looks like he's
mullets.
fresh out of the fucking 80s. I swear to God.
He does. He fits right in the 80s. With his glasses, with the mullet, with the leather vest. The man, I'm going to say something stupid, Paystee, and I hate when I say stupid things. The man needs to get signed by WWE. He'll never be a main event guy. He'll never hold the world title, but he could easily be a Dean Ambrose. He could easily be I'm going to make a lot of money being the upper middle guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He could make money doing that. He could. He's got all the talent in the world. Both in the ring and on the mic. He's just amazing. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's just fantastic with the New Hart Foundation.
Yeah. With
Teddy Hart, him, and Davey Jr.
And he would have fitted in the original Hart Foundation.
Oh, he definitely would have. I mean, yeah, he definitely would have. It's just great. I agree with you. It's going to be Brian Pillman Jr. Tommy Dreamer, at this point in his career, has no reason to win in big matches like this. I mean, he should be putting over young guys and helping to make their careers.
Of course, with the way this build-up is, I'm going to facepalm when Tommy does win this one and teaches him some respect.
With his polka dot pants.
Once there was this kid who took a trip to Singapore and brought along a spray paint, and when he finally came back, he had cane marks all over his bottom. A little Weird Al for you guys.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun one. One that never gets talked about.
God,
I'm glad you pulled that out, because that one, I mean, that never gets played.
Well, that's Could be the story of this match, really.
It could.
When they show highlights of the match, that's the song that's going to be played.
It should. How come nobody's done that yet?
I hope Tommy spanks his ass with a Singapore cane.
And to end the show at 0 Hour, we have a no DQ world title match. Low Key is defending his title. Of course, he's represented by Selena de la Renta for Promociones Dorado, which is in English, Paystee.
Golden Promotions?
God damn, you're good. I swear, sometimes I think you were born in Mexico. And
De La Renta, she's the landlord?
Yes, she's the landlord.
Now, does she own the company, or is she just...
She is the company. I mean, that's her. She created the Golden Promotion.
But I mean like MLW in general.
Oh, no.
No? Okay.
No.
I've been confused about that since I came in, because they seem like an established like authority.
No, she has Low Key. She has L.A. Park and El Hijo de la Park.
Mm-hmm.
She also
smaller,
has,
colorful L.A. Park. That's what that means.
Yeah, smaller, colorful L.A. Park. She has who's the other Spanish guy she has? She has
Simon Gotch.
Actually, now Simon Gotch is a part of them. Yes, you are correct. Simon Gotch just turned against Filthy Tom Lawler and
Sammy
joined them.
Callahan.
She's not a part of Sammy Callahan and OVD. No, she is not. But I mean, they're kind of working together. But yeah. No. Anyways, so Low Key,
we never said who he's versing.
Conan, who is kind of coming out of retirement for the first time, although he just came out of retirement in the last match, although he didn't show up to the last match until the end, and then he just kind of got...
Man, Conan has no chance here.
Conan's milking his fucking name, isn't he?
Yeah.
I love Conan. No shit about him. The man has such a beautiful mind for the business. He was one of the best workers. He was a superstar in Mexico who he was the Rock in Mexico before anybody knew there could be The Rock. Like in the early 90s in Mexico, he starred in TV shows, in movies. He was getting red carpet treatments. He was the biggest name in Mexico. And I will never take that away from him.
And now he's just a guy with a podcast on the Talk is Jericho network.
That nobody listens to.
No. I tried when it first came around, when I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah, I tried also, and it's just not that good, even with Disco Inferno. And I love Disco, and Hoovy. Hoovie's on there too, and I just can't...
Juventud Guerrero.
But, yeah, he's overstaying his welcome. Obviously, he needs triple threat hardcore matches and no DQ matches, because he can't wrestle a match. We know that. And he'll admit that. I'm not dogging him for that. The man's going to do better in the ring than I'll ever do, Paystee.
Yeah.
But the man's not winning the MLW Heavyweight Championship.
Well, the thing here is it's a no DQ match, so obviously the Golden Promotions is going to have their lackeys at side. The only way Conan stands a chance is if somehow he gets LAX to come with him. And if LAX shows up at MLW... I'll ejaculate into my own asshole. I'd say that's a pretty sure bet. So I'm ready to ejaculate into my own asshole.
You're ejaculating in your asshole?
Yes, if LAX shows up.
Okay. I think there's a good chance they could show up, to be honest.
Yeah. Impact would let him, no doubt.
Oh, yeah. Impact would easily let him. One thing about MLW, they seem to kind of... get all around. They got AAA guys and they got CMLL guys, and AAA and CMLL.
And I mean, Rich Swann's fighting in this event. He's Impact.
Oh yeah, they got a lot of Impact. DJZ is very Impact.
Sami Callihan.
Yeah, Sami Callihan does so much Impact stuff. All of these guys also, a lot of them do Lucha Underground with AAA. But like I said, there's CMLL stuff. Dragon Lee is CMLL. They got New Japan stuff. Dragon Lee does stuff with New Japan. Yeah, it's... MLW seems to be one of the promotions that doesn't rub too many people the wrong way. And as long as they don't get too big, they seem to be able to get a lot of shit done.
Yeah.
So what's your pick?
The man with the best voice in professional wrestling right now.
Low Ki.
Yes. Oh my God. I love when he talks.
Do you really?
Yes.
You know how many people hate when he talks?
Well, it's because he's Mexican, but he talks like a rich white guy with a very low voice. But I love it. I love it so much. Because he looks like Rey Mysterio without a mask.
Yeah, he's taken the Hitman character because, I mean, it's been about a year, maybe more than a year, that he started this quote Hitman character that he had, where he just did the video game Hitman?
Yeah.
But he's really turned it into something that he's very much like Sting did with the Crow. You know, Sting started as a mock of the Crow, but then as time went, when you see that, you think of Sting, you don't think of the Crow.
Right.
And you could even go as far as to say a lot of times when people watch The Crow, they think of Sting. And I think Low Ki's done that with Hitman. And to be fair, I don't think Hitman was ever as big as The Crow.
No.
So, I think it's awesome. I think Low Ki was one of the best pro wrestlers back in 2003, 4, 5. The fact that MLW has given him a place to be a world champion in 2018 is fucking fantastic. Because remember, Paystee, he went to WWE. They fucked him up as Caval. They put him in NXT. He won NXT. I think he won NXT. Am I making that up? I think he won NXT. I might be making that up. Then he came to the main roster as Caval, and they just fucked with him like he was shit. They turned him into Pac. They turned him into Cody Rhodes. They turned him into Rich Swann. Any number of these motherfuckers. Austin Aries. Any number of these fuckers that were amazing talents that they just fucked with. And he came out, and you're watching him now like, God damn, I would love to see this guy main event WWE. I love it. Didn't he win NXT?
I couldn't tell you. I am not familiar with Caval at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's go Caval NXT and see what Google has to say. Low Ki. Caval NXT comes up Low Ki. Let's go World Wrestling Federation NXT. It was announced on June 1st that Caval would participate in the second season of NXT. Caval regained the #1 ranking on August 30th episode of Raw. Caval and Daniel Bryan lost a triple threat match to Miz and Alex Riley. On August 31st, Caval won the second season of NXT with McGillicuddy, who would end up being Curtis Axel, ranked second, and Riley in third place. So yeah, Caval won second season of Low Ki was the second season winner of NXT, Paystee. And WWE had no fucking idea what to do with them because that was in 2010, and by December of 2010 he was no longer with WWE and he went to New Japan and TNA.
All right.
So they had this talented bastard. But, I mean, if you look at WWE in 2010, that's not what they were looking for. Not in 2010. It was 8 years ago, Paystee. That was when Alex Riley and Curtis Axel were still in New Japan, or NXT, I should say. What a world we live in.
What a world! I'm melting! Global warming!
Yep. I don't think we got much else, Paystee.
No. I do kind of, because I loved it so much, kind of just want to briefly, as we exit here, talk about the Battle Riot. Because what amazingness happened here. 40 men in a Royal Rumble style fight where
this is the MLW
can
Battle
happen.
Riot, folks, that he's talking
Yes.
about. MLW
well, we're
Battle
talking
Riot.
about MLW.
No DQ.
No DQ. Yeah, right. Weapons. Submission eliminates people. Fucking wonderful match with some surprising stars showing up. I mean, Blue Meanie was in the house.
I know, right? When do you get to see Blue Meanie on TV?
Oh, it's so good. So good. And then who was the old legend who got fucking submitted right away by Tom Lawler? Oh, I'm looking at the list of people here. Good God. Why? I don't think I'm seeing it now anyway.
I'm trying to think of who was the old legend that was in there.
He was a really old guy. And Tom Lawler jumped up right behind him and choked him out. And he tapped right away.
Brody King was in there. Brody King?
That could be it.
Brody King.
Yeah. Joey Ryan showed up.
No, you're thinking Kevin Sullivan, aren't you?
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Kevin Sullivan.
Is that the same backstage WWE Kevin Sullivan?
Yep, WCW. He was the head booker of WCW. In fact, his wife was Nancy Sullivan, who ended up in a storyline relationship with Chris Benoit. Then she ended up leaving Kevin Sullivan for Chris Benoit. Then Kevin Sullivan had to write stories for Chris Benoit, who was fucking his wife. Then Chris Benoit had a kid with Nancy, married her, and then he murdered Nancy and his son. So in a weird way, Kevin Sullivan is responsible for Chris Benoit murdering his wife and child. How do you like that, Paystee? You weren't expecting that story, were you?
My face just melted from my skull.
Yeah, that was one of those things where people worked themselves into a shoot. Kevin Sullivan came up with the storyline where Chris Benoit started fucking Nancy on TV. And then Nancy left Kevin Sullivan for Chris Benoit. And that's why Chris Benoit left WCW, because Kevin Sullivan was the head booker at the time. And so Kevin Sullivan's writing storylines for the guy who's fucking his wife. Well, Chris Benoit's not going anywhere there. And that's not wrong on Kevin Sullivan's part. I'm not saying that either, folks. They were both, if Chris Benoit wants to fuck Nancy and she'll let him, that's fine. But if Kevin Sullivan's writing your storylines, you better expect you're not going to get shit out of that, okay?
Right.
That's part of it. No, we had Hornswoggle in this fucking battle royal.
Joey
we
Ryan.
Had ACH, Joey Ryan, Conan.
John Morris and Jack Swagger.
Barrington Hughes, the big son of a bitch that's coming up here. Teddy Hart. Fucking everybody. This was fun.
It was. And fuck, if WWE does anything over 30 men, the world is complaining. This was an easy watch, and I wanted more.
Right?
Definitely. If you haven't not watched MLW and you don't start at the beginning, start here.
And this one, I will let folks know, this one was, I think, about 2 hours. This was a 2-hour show. Most MLWs are right at 1 hour.
Yeah.
But this one not only had the Battle Riot, but it also had a few actual title matches. I think this was I think this was the match that did the first ever middleweight title. Joey Ryan versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Mm-hmm.
And MJF won.
And Tony Schiavone was at ringside.
Tony, we haven't even mentioned Tony Schiavone.
No,
Paystee.
we haven't.
Oh shit! My favorite announcer who's still living today. Not my favorite announcer of all time, but my favorite announcer who's still living today. Tony Schiavone is the voice of MLW. That says something to me. I mean, maybe not, but I love Tony Schiavone. I think he's great. As somebody who grew up NWA, WCW, I love hearing him. I love his take on things. For anybody who listens to What Happened When Mondays with Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson, you know the Tony Schiavone who's hiding under there. That's just so much fun. And this is what got Tony back into pro wrestling. He quit all of pro wrestling back in like 2001 when WCW went under. And something like MLW got his jaded ass out and wanting to be a part of pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Again, to me, that says something.
Yes, it definitely does. And he was joined by Matt Striker, who's not so bad himself.
No, he's not. He's not bad. Not classic, but not bad.
And of course, everybody's favorite appearance in the entire Battle Riot. The Spirit Squad was in the house. Boom!
Whoop, whoop!
Yep, Kenny and Mikey showed up. Showed out. And of course,
Kenny
Conan was
Dykstra.
there. God, just a good fucking time. Fun as hell.
PCO was there, Paystee. Have you ever figured out who PCO is yet?
Polycystic ovarian cancer.
Yes.
Still no.
Go hit up your MLW on your YouTube and check out the PCO. You'll be like, oh shit. He's not. You won't recognize him as the PCO from WWE. Like, there's no way you'll ever like connect him to the WWE PCO, which was just Carl Ouellet.
Who the fuck is it?
Who is known because
I'm looking at him right now.
He could catch a baseball with one eye, Paystee. What? It takes you a hand to catch a baseball. He could catch a baseball with one eye.
He looks like the lead singer of
He was part of the Quebecers with Jacques Rougeau. It was Carl Ouellet and Jacques Rougeau back in WWE. And he had the eye patch. He was the one-eyed guy. He was gone for like 10 years. Then came back as like a hardcore extreme wrestler.
He looks
under
like
the name
the lead singer
Pierre Carl Ouellet, PCO.
He looks like the lead singer of The Offspring if he was bald.
I like the Offspring. They make good music.
They made better music in the 90s.
Well, I guess that's all I know them for. I guess I haven't listened to non-90s Offspring, so... But I have watched non-90s Carl Ouellet, and I think he's amazing.
Yeah, I don't think I recognize him from anything. That might make me a bad person.
Look up
I'm looking at him right now.
Brothers. Look up the Rougeau brothers, though. Like, not PCO. Look up the Rougeau brothers and see the guy with the eye patch. ROUGEO, something like that. You have a hard time. I know you have a hard time with the French names. I know. I know
you
Paystee.
do.
You and your Lavusque or whatever.
ROUGEAU.
Yeah, there you go. The guy with the one eye. That's him.
They have two eyes apiece, from what I've seen.
Not the Rougeau brothers. If you looked up the Rougeau brothers,
I did. They're with Jimmy Hart. They're wearing sunglasses in one picture.
Don't look for the
Jacques
links.
Rougeau, Tox's Sons, WWE, something.
Quebecers. Did you look up? Are they Quebecers? I just looked up Quebec. I just looked up to Quebec.
Still.
It's WWE, man. It's hard to fucking.
There's one.
He played like.
Wow, he was a lot bigger back then.
He was way more muscular. Not like bigger like fat, bigger like muscular. Yeah. I can see him right now. He's got an eye patch.
Yeah, finally, when you get to the Quebecers.
Well, okay. Well, yeah, they had like 17 fucking gimmicks. All right? One of them was the fucking Mountie against the Big Boss Man. You remember that? When he was the fucking Canadian Mountie?
No, I never watched this shit.
You didn't watch WWE? I thought I was the NWA guy.
I never saw these guys. Never.
This is from your era, like the Attitude Era. WWE.
This is pre though. I was late Attitude Era, and more ruthless aggression, I guess, because it was towards the end of WCW. I think you're more
ruthless aggression because this is from Raw, like back when Raw was raw.
Raw.
Yeah, he was. So this is him. But then he took off like 10 years, like not doing anything, Paystee. And then he came back and he's this hardcore specialist.
And he has his eyeball.
He's good. Back. No, he doesn't. He's got. Haven't you ever seen his eye? He's got the Sub-Zero thing going where he's got like the painted scar, but his eye is like cloudy or whatever. So
Kane did that too.
Yeah, but Kane's was fake, and this guy's is actually... This guy could catch a baseball, Paystee, with one eye. Have you caught a baseball with one eye?
Sure.
I've caught a baseball with two hands. Never with one eye. Seems dangerous. Dangerous.
Danger. We are nearing the end of season 1 of Beef Sticks Podcast.
I am going to say though, Paystee, and we're not going to talk about this on Beef Sticks Podcast, but Kim Possible live action movie's coming out, and I'm fucking stoked.
Oh shit!
I know.
Find out more about that on Butter Pop Culture, I'm sure.
But yeah, we need to end this. It's about time, look.
Oh, you mean you got to work tomorrow and you got to go to sleep?
Fucking assholes.
You sure you don't want to make this a 6-hour super show?
Assholes!
Come on, we can do some more Lost in Translation. Huh?
And with that being said, folks, Paystee White quit speaking. And we did not hear from him again until the year our Lord 2019. So with me being the only one left to bid you adieu, thank you for all of your ears that you have presented to the Beef Sticks Podcast for season 1. And may we get more ears in season 2. We thank you and we bid you au revoir.
Until next time, this has been Hell in the Bloody Bloodhouse.